Hey everybody, this is Jeremy Tiers from Tutor Collegiate Strategies, and you're about to check out the latest episode of the Mission of Mission podcast, a show that's designed to help higher ed become better recruiters, communicators, marketers, and managers. Each week I'll introduce you to an industry leader or difference maker who will share helpful advice, tips, and strategies that will help you grow professionally and personally. Mission of Mission is part of the Enrollify podcast network. I'm excited to share my latest candid conversation, so let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Tiers, and this is episode 29 of the Mission Admissions podcast. I'm ending season 2 with a bonus episode of sorts, and instead of bringing on a guest, I want to spend a few minutes talking with you about 3 things that have come up a ton over the past couple of months as I've been traveling the country, leading workshops for admissions and enrollment marketing teams, and working with many of our college partners. The first one is a question that I ask whenever I lead training workshops. Why do you do what you do? I want you to think about that for a minute. Like if someone asked you to define your why, what would you tell them? And I know that's a deep question, but it's a super important question that I encourage you to think about. I would also tell you the answer is not to make money. Yes, we all need to make money. I agree. But making money is a byproduct of your why. Like your why is your purpose. And so that can be something that's very, very powerful. And I'm finding more and more professionals, both young and new in higher education and veteran, are telling me, Jeremy, I don't think about that. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know of a why. Your why can be a very powerful statement that will help guide your future career decisions and direction in your life. So that's why, if you're listening to this and you don't have an answer to that question I just asked, I really want you to write something down that immediately comes to mind and ponder it. Think about it. If it takes you a little bit of time to come up with it, totally okay. When I ask that question, what I typically hear from a lot of people is, Jeremy, I like helping people. It makes me feel good. Or, Jeremy, I was a first gen college student. And so for me, I'm doing what I do now because I want to help other students, especially other first gen, see that college can be possible. Understand there's no right or wrong answer here. The point is, you need to have something here if you want to continue the growth process. What ultimately, though, I tend to see when I ask again that question is so much of the feedback and answers I get revolve around this idea of helping other people. I want all of you listening to this to understand you have the ability and influence to impact prospective and current students every single day. Think about that for a second. That's pretty powerful. And if you want my honest opinion, it's pretty cool to be able to say you work in a profession where you can truly make a difference, especially at a critical point in life for so many of these students and their families that you have an opportunity to engage with. And a lot of times I'll hear, come on, Jeremy, like sending that one email or showing empathy or doing something little like that's really going to make a difference. I really have that kind of impact. Yes, you do. We've been asking on surveys we do ahead of a lot of the training workshops that I lead, talk to us about what you remember about your interactions with the admissions staff at the school you ended up choosing. So these would be incoming first-year students. This is an anonymous survey. There's no motivation for them whatsoever to mention an admissions counselor by name. The amount of quotes I have seen over the last couple of months, and I want to read you a few of them because they're powerful. I know if it wasn't for, and you put the admissions counselor's name in, I wouldn't be attending, and you put the college's name in this fall. Literally, that's a student saying, if it wasn't for that person, that counselor, I wouldn't be attending this school. Or the counselor was my admissions counselor, and I credit her largely for why I'm even going to college. Or the counselor was so kind and helpful and made me feel confident. She definitely made me feel wanted too, which was refreshing and added to my interest in the school. When you have a defined why, it is so much easier for you each day, especially when we all get caught up in all of the different things we have going on, because I'm well aware we're all juggling a lot of things in our lives, to really fall back on this whole concept of purpose and why we do what we do. So I want to again encourage you one more time to think about and write down your why. The next thing I want to talk with you about is self-evaluation. And I'm not just talking about, your yearly review with your boss. I am talking about, are you taking time very intentionally each week to sit down and think about, kind of replay back what happened over the past 7 days, especially when it comes to your work? I had Anna Dearman Cornick on recently in episode 27, and Anna shared some great questions that will help you with weekly self-reflection. So I really encourage you to go back and listen to that or re-listen to it. Two of the ones that she mentioned that I really like, and I personally ask myself every week, are what did I learn this week and what challenges and obstacles arose that I didn't anticipate or see coming. But weekly self-reflection is a super important practice, because if you can get into the habit of tracking your progress on different things and identifying areas for improvement, it's totally going to help you grow in your personal and professional life. And I can also tell you that as I encourage counselors or marketers who are brand new to their role to do it, I often hear, hey, Jeremy, it actually helped me improve my self-confidence too. So don't wait and just once or even twice a year do that self-evaluation or self-reflection. Again, I highly encourage you to block time each week. Probably doesn't even need to be more than 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a half hour max. And I think you'll see a lot of value by doing that. The last thing I want to touch on today is work-life balance. And this is always something that I don't even remember the last week when this topic didn't come up in a conversation that I have with somebody. I know juggling work, friends, family life, you time, right? It's me time. It's a constant battle for all of us. But I also know that achieving a better work-life balance, it's super important, and it really helps us in our day-to-day. And I would just tell you a couple of things. Number one, please, please, please understand, there is no one perfect balance. It doesn't exist. Don't try to copy someone else's. It's not what I want you to do. What I want you to do is I want you to think, all right, if I look at my daily life, things that I'm doing personally and professionally, am I happy with my balance? Do I have what I think is a good work-life balance? To me, that's what matters most. You're the most important person in your life. Please let me say that again. You're the most important person in your life, and you get to decide what kind of balance makes you happy. Well, it happened again. You've got prospects who are interested in attending your institution and are all excited about taking the next steps, but they keep getting consistently confused by all of the information and tasks that they need to complete to enroll. This is something that you feel like you'd like to take and have a meeting with your marketing, admissions, and IT staff to ultimately improve the digital experience for prospective students. But here's the problem. You've got some challenges trying to convince your partners in those departments across campus to let go of their marketing automation software or changing their CRM. And IT obviously is understaffed too. But what if you could come to the table with a solution that didn't require anyone to let go of their software, while at the same time ensuring a frictionless experience for prospective students and your current students alike? Today's your lucky day, because that's exactly what Pathify does. Pathify sits at the center of your school's digital ecosystem, becoming the single user experience interface, tying together all systems, content, and communications. Their engagement hub elevates the information that matters most and pushes systems like the SIS behind the scenes where they belong, making it simpler for students to discover and engage with the opportunities your institution provides at every step of their higher ed journey. What's even better, Pathify has a mobile experience that provides 100% parity with a responsive web app so your campus app is always in sync. Pathify is a platform that every stakeholder on campus, from marketing to admissions to student affairs to IT, can equally get excited about. I encourage you to learn more about how Pathify is unifying strategic units across campus and bettering the entire student experience by visiting pathify.com. That's pathify.com. And be sure to tell them that Jeremy Tears from Mission Admissions sent you their way. So for me, give you an example, I get asked all the time, like, Jeremy, you must not be happy with your balance. God, I see you all over social media. You post in your newsletter, you're traveling, crisscrossing the country. Like, gosh, you must be miserable. No, I actually have an amazing work-life balance. So for me, part of that is, right, I have chosen to travel as much as I travel because, tying back into the first thing we talked about, part of my why is, like, I love being part of the growth process of another human being. Like, that's just super fulfilling for me. And so when I have an opportunity to do that at so many different schools, right? People look and go, Jeremy, you got to do 20 one-on-one meetings back to back. Like, what are you doing? You're going to go stir crazy, right? No, that's 20 different opportunities for me to help another person if that person is engaged. That's how I approach it. So for me, there are times in a year when my work-life balance looks completely different than the rest of the year. It's okay if you want to work 40 hours a week. It's okay if you want to work 60 hours a week, in my opinion. I just, again, want to understand, are you happy? I'm not going to tell you to change unless you're not happy. But, and I think this part's important too, so let's talk about it for a minute. If you want more responsibilities at work, you're hoping to get a promotion, you want more money, you're going to have to change your work-life balance. It's unrealistic to think, well, I can have my cake and eat it too. Please, please, please. That's not realistic if any of you think that way, right? Bigger goals will always require a different kind of balance. I don't know a single leader out there who has the same work-life balance as someone who's new to the profession or been doing something in higher ed for 1 or 2 years. And I would tell you also that your work-life balance, time back in even with your why, sometimes they both can change over time or vary. So my balance before my wife Jen and I had our daughter Olivia was totally different. Right? I was a college basketball coach for a handful of years. I was a high school counselor for a handful of years. When you're a newlywed, like, there are different points in your life where, like, your balance changes. And when you become a parent, and those of you who are parents listening to this can understand what I'm saying, your balance changes. Totally okay. Right? The right balance for you will just be different at different points in your life. And the last thing I'll add is this idea that, like, work-life balance has to be equal, like it has to be 50% work, 50% life. I personally don't believe that trying to split your work and personal activities 50-50 is realistic. So I just encourage you, right, to have constant communication and transparency with the people closest to you when it comes to work-life balance. Like, each week, I talk with my wife, Jen, about my schedule. And, there's going to be some days where I might focus more on work and some days where, hey, it's a 9 or a 10-hour day. And there's some days where it's a shorter day. But I'm very intentional, and I encourage you to do the same thing about finding the balance that you need, and then encouraging those who you're having communication with or who are closest to you and important to you in your life to let you know if they think you're not doing a good job of finding the balance that you are looking for. Two final things related to work-life balance. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. I was in New York City yesterday, and I had a brand new enrollment leader tell me, Jeremy, I struggle, right, saying no. I get it. Totally normal, but it's super important. You will not have a happy, positive work-life balance if you do not set boundaries and say no to things. The last thing I will say, please, please, please don't be afraid to completely unplug. And I have no problem, honestly, admitting this one continues to be my biggest challenge. I have found that little things, though, like putting my cell phone far away in the corner of my office when I'm in my office working and not traveling, or really trying to wait and do things like edit my Tuesday newsletter until my daughter goes to bed Monday night. It's little things like that that allow me to feel better about my balance. So I hope that listening to me chat about those three things has been helpful for you. Even if it's one, two, or all three, I really encourage you to spend a few minutes today or sometime very soon thinking, do I have a clearly defined why? Am I consistently doing self-evaluation for myself? And what do I think about my work-life balance? When all three of those, all right, are aligned, you're going to be much happier just overall in your personal and professional life. Again, I want to tell you on the way out the door how much I appreciate all of you and your constant support of this podcast. It is so much fun for me to get those messages or to speak with people at conferences who tell me how much value they're getting out of this. Please continue to send me emails or messages if you have certain topics or things that you're wondering about. And I do want to let you know that season 3 is already in the works and it will kick off later this fall. Probably late November is what we're aiming for. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to the next time that we connect.
Hey, all, Zach here from Enrollify. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Mission Admissions with Jeremy Tiers. If you like this episode, do us a huge favor and hit that follow and subscribe button below. Furthermore, if you've got just 2 minutes to spare, we would greatly appreciate you leaving a rating and a review of this show on Apple Podcasts. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, admissions, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks that are all designed to empower you to become a better higher ed professional. But Enrollify is far more than just a podcast network. Enrollify is where higher ed comes to learn new marketing skills, discover new products and services, and find their next job. We're a growing learning community of 4,000 members, and we'd love to welcome you into the fold. You can access our free blog articles, newsletters, e-courses, and more, or purchase our master course on how to market a university with Terry Flannery at enrollify.org. We look forward to meeting you soon and welcoming you into the community. Again, you can subscribe for free at enrollify.org.